If nobody's ever told you the secret to good drywall repair, your patches probably end up looking something like this. We're going to change that today. I'm going to show you the best way to fix screw pops. We'll cover how to lock down the drywall properly so they never return. And then I'm going to show you my magical patching formula that will completely transform your patching game. Now you can see down in the stairwell why screw pops end up happening. This is how drywall screws should be. And this is how you get the pops. You put the screw in too deep, it tears through the paper and you lose all the holding power, or you miss the stud completely, or you just do all of the bad things. Now you've got all this movement, you mud over it, something moves, and the screw pops. And you can see this screw pop here is because they missed the stud to the right side. So we're gonna remove that screw. Now just dig right through the drywall mud, get in there, back this thing out. And now this is the key thing here is you want to lock down the drywall, otherwise the pops will return. We can reuse the screw that we took out. You want to make sure you use a drywall screw because it has that perfect little bugle head that can grip onto the paper. It's actually pretty crazy how well the screws hold when you put them in properly. If you go through the paper, you can see with this block here that I sampled out, you can just rip it right off. Now to put the screws in, we're gonna go into the stud, which is just to the left. You can use a drill with one of these little dimplers on here. That's probably the easiest way. The secret with these things is not to push too hard and burnish and burn through the paper, because then you're gonna be back in the same spot. So I'll show you how to do that. Just push the drywall a little bit snug here. We'll go into the stud. But you can also just use a screwdriver and put that in the old-fashioned way. So you want to put that in so it's biting, but not too deep. That is the perfect depth right there. Then the next thing you want to do is just clean off any of this loose paper here. Just get in there and clean up the edge. Now that is properly locked down. Let's get to that magical patching formula. I spent the last week testing and perfecting it, making way more screw holes and patches around my house than I care to admit, but the results are absolutely beautiful. And let me tell you, the number one thing that you don't want to do here is take a lightweight spackle, try to do one heavy coat and then feather out the edges. Once you hit that thing with paint and you see it with a little side light from a window or a lamp, it's going to look worse than the original screw pop. This is the first part of the formula and the most critical step. For that initial fill, you want to use a 5-minute hot mud. I'll link all of the materials and tools that I use in this video down in the description. If you're watching on TV, you can check out the QR code over there. Now to mix this up, because it's a small repair, you can just use a yogurt container with a fairly flat bottom. Add just enough water to cover the base. Then you want to mix in just a couple drops of wood glue. This is going to help the mud bond to the screw head so it doesn't want to pop off later. Stir that in until it looks milky. Then sprinkle in enough powder to cover the entire water surface. I'm just using a 2-inch knife here to mix this up. You can use whatever you have. If it's too thick, a little splash of water. Too thin, smidge of powder. Do not overmix. That's going to shorten up your working time considerably. And yeah, you can see, you want it pretty thick. It's kind of a peanut buttery consistency. And now before we do the patch, I'm going to put it on with a 4-inch putty knife. I'm just going to scrape this and make sure there is nothing sticking out. We'll put a little bit on the knife, put it on in one direction, and then scrape it clean with like a 45-degree angle here, just scraping it all off. You can see it's not quite covering in this top screw, so I'm going to put a little bit more on. You might need to work it a couple times. That's actually looking really nice, so 2 times is a charm. Clean it off. And the key is here not to leave any buildup. This 5-minute hot mud or any hot mud dries really, really hard and it is difficult to sand. Now it's been about 30 minutes. This is definitely dry to the touch. Take your 4-inch knife and just scrape off any of the ridges. And if you used an air drying all-purpose mud here, it would still be drying and the shrinkage would be extreme. Give that a quick little sand. If there's any kind of built up areas, And now for the last part of the secret formula. This part is actually pretty wild. I tested all the different drywall compounds out there, and the best thing for the final coat is Dridex. But you have to be careful how you apply and sand it. Let me show you how to put this on for the ultimate finish here. Just take some out with the 2-inch knife, put it onto your 4-inch knife. Never ever clean it off on the edge here. You put the lid back on and then it starts drying in here and it never seals properly, ruining many a tub of Dridex. So keep it clean. With the 4-inch knife, you want to do the clean coat again here. You might. So you got it on there, go in another direction. And that is beautiful. Because it's such a thin coat, that's gonna dry in about 15 minutes. Quick little sand. You do not want to over sand. Just make sure all of the edges are feathered out there. Even if it's just a light little skim. Once you get all those edges taken care of, you want to just do 2 or 3 quick little light swipes with a fine sanding sponge. The worst thing you can do is over sand that. Wipe the wall down, 2 coats of paint, a little sand in between, and I can't even see the patch. And you can see under harsh lighting conditions from the side, this is a professional screw patch right here. It looks like a bit of a fried egg. It's not bad. Here's the yolk and here's the outer perimeter. This is an amateur feathered out spackle patch. Looks terrible. And this is the undetectable secret formula. It speaks for itself. If you want to see my secret formula for caulking, go ahead and check out this video right over here.